I had said I wanted to come down.
But I wanted to welcome the students that are also on Zoom at Sister's Place. I mean,
Yes.
at Sister's Place. They're tuning in to this meeting. So welcome to those students.
Yeah, I had told Sarah that I wanted to come down because, you know, sometimes we talk a lot and don't necessarily learn a lot. And so the issues that are going on in the Middle East right now are complex. And I wanted, you know, we do our study group on Thursday. And oh, is that, that's right, it's that technical guy. Okay. Yes. Oh, is that better? Straight ahead. I wanted our comrades to be informed more about what's happening. Certainly, we have peripheral understandings of what's happening in Iran. You cannot help that. But I think as Comrade Holmes said, one of the things that's very important now is for those of us who are revolutionary, those of us who are conscious, it's important the presentation of the question of what's going on now. And our understanding, and we've gotten some solidarity with that, listening to some of our comrades in Africa, is that we're in a period where, and I think as Larry said, it's a downward motion, but it's not a downward motion in the revolutionary essence of what's happening. Imperialism is at its weakest stage, and is to appreciate that this stage also makes them the most vicious. But that viciousness only exposes the very nature of who they are, even to the horror of some of their allies. And so it's important, as we see every day, it seems like something else is happening, where there's another right being taken away, another child is being kidnapped, and all this is going on. This is actually a sign of weakness, because in this period, their best weapon is to not be exposed and to be able to continue to fool people into convincing them that things are actually getting better. So we feel good in this period, even as vicious and as horrid as it is, because we think the people are winning. And I think that's important. So now it gives responsibility. And that's why I wanted comrades to hear what's happening this evening and hear Al-Hud's Day, the Ayatollah, to understand that this is part of the fabric of the revolutionary motion in the world. And it passes through these changes, and we lose and martyr folks in that process. And in our own motion and in our solidarity with other comrades and countries and movements, we lose people. And that is a part of the process of changing this world. And I think right now, and you know what Larry said, right now, it might seem in one sense that things seem so difficult, but yet we are presented with a great opportunity at this point. They have touched Iran. Iran is not a small island somewhere. It's 90 million people. And they've gone into it for all of the different tactical and strategic reasons they want to. But at the same time, they are also awakening another part of the world to the resistance to imperialism. And I say this around the question of imperialism because the class contradictions in the Black community, say in particular, are something that we must pay particular attention to if we're going to make sure that our national right to liberation does not become confused. that anti-imperialism can easily be motioned into being alliances to imperialism if the wrong forces are in the front of it. And so I've said that we see it extremely important for the December 12th movement to do our work inside our community, where over a period of time, the class forces that are influencing the Black liberation struggle have really turned against progress in that regard. And, you know, they say, as Cabral said, tell no lies and claim no easy victories in that regard. There's work, very serious work that needs to be done. And we've lost many comrades that have been steeled in the sense of our history and our motion and our experience in that regard. And we have to rebuild that. We have to win over another generation of young people to let them know what their role is in this period right now. Some of us will not be here going forward, but we must fight for a legacy that transforms and transfers that experience, that commitment to another generation. As one of our young comrades said, intergenerational solidarity is so critical now that there are new things, but because they're new don't make them right. They're old things because they're old. That doesn't make them correct. It is the experience and knowledge to be able to understand that which can serve revolution and that which opposes revolution has to be identified in that regard. And so where we are now, I think, is a very critical period, particularly for many of us who've been together over many years. I look in this room and I see people that we smile when we see each other because we know each other, because we've been in an experience over decades, not days and months and years, but decades. And we say to ourselves, at this point in time, our greatest contribution is the optimism, is revolutionary optimism. That's one of our most critical things to be able to see. And that's what ideology gives us. That's what politics gives us. It gives us the ability to see the road ahead, even in the greatest difficulties, to see weakness when what's being advocated by the enemy is strength, to see strength when they try to undermine and say we're the weakest point in our lives in that regard. So we want, my comrade Roger, we've been together on 50 years. You know, we wanted to come down because the idea of the front is extremely important. But, you know, to build the front, the question is, what are the components that are going to go into it? And that's a very, very important question, because as you build the party, as we build our movement, its strength is tied very much to what the strength of the front would be. And if we're weak in that, then how could not the front be weak in that? Because a front is very interesting territory, because it's unity and then a conscious understanding of actual disunity on many issues. But the question is, how do we arrive at the things that we can aim against imperialism? We find sometimes in this country of personalities and individualism, sometimes personalities and character separate the building of a front. It's not deep ideology. No, it's personalities. You know, I don't like you. You know, I don't want to be away from you. I don't you know, these things actually have a material impact on, ultimately, Larry, do we pull that front together? And we sit and say it's necessary to make it so. But the reality of making it so means it's not just something we read. It's a real experience of, you know, everybody comes from where they are, where they say, you make revolution where you are, and that's your contribution to world revolution. You contribute to it from where you are, in terms of, as the Cubans say, our socialism has palm trees. You know, the essence of that is it has to apply and speak to our actual conditions. And that's what I think we're challenged with now. You know, sometimes I say to folks, I say to my comrades, yes, we go to Union Square. Yes, we go to Times Square, but we have to go to the Bronx. We got to go to the heart of Bed-Stuy. We got to go to East New York. You know, we have to take ourselves there so that people see the reality of what a revolutionary movement is. You know, it's not a television question. It's a question of people actually seeing and feeling a different level of unity. You know, so you know, the December 12th movement is here for the go down. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I know Sarah said, Omowale, y'all gonna be da 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 da. I said, Sarah, we're coming and da 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 da. Many tasks cry out to be done, all urgently in that regard. But we have to build the time for building the front. We have to pay particular attention to what the building blocks will be if there's going to be longevity and strength to it. Straight ahead. I mean, that's.
Thank you, Omowale. And I'm glad you acknowledge another leader, longtime leader of the December 12th movement, Roger Wareham. You're welcome. Okay, next we're going to hear from Sarah Flounders, who is a Workers' World contributing editor.
And let me say before she sits, okay. Sarah doesn't remember this, but Sarah came back from China, and she came back and she made a statement that I thought was extremely powerful. She said when she was there, she was doing an article in a newspaper, and in the article, she formulated, she said, you know, one of the most important things to understand about the bourgeoisie, and it's sombering. They don't see a world that they're not in charge of. You have to understand that to understand how dangerous they are. And I've never forgotten that statement, Sarah. Never.